Live and direct from Planet of Queens, New York. Soccer Senseis. Rodrigo Salazar. To my left, we got Luis Saldivar, our creative director, and our special guest, Andrew Medina. Thank you, my man. Thank you for joining us. I know you're.
How you doing? Nice to meet you guys.
Thank you, man. I know you're still mourning the loss of LAFC against the Mexican opposition. So
You had to bring that up, huh?
you know, it's
You
just
know what? We're gonna switch hats. Here we go.
there you go.
There we go. Yeah. We're still repping. We're still proud. It was a tough loss. That was I didn't expect much after the crazy season that we had, but I think it showed. Don't mean to talk too much about soccer, but
No, dude.
it did show. I think.
Want to get to know you and why you're a soccer head like everybody else who's watching. We want to know your story. So go ahead.
Just to really quick finish up with the LAFC thing. I think it just showed after a ridiculous, crazy season, issues with COVID, issues with injuries, call-ups. We had the most international call-ups. I think at one point we had like 9 of our starters were gone, and it was just very difficult to get our team together to play and to practice together. I think you saw what happened finally once we had a few weeks together to like kind of galvanize and play together what we could do. We played Mexico's best. And I that last game, it was just like that one little 30-second, you go to sleep and that's what happens. You're playing elite opposition. You're playing Tigres, who are no joke. But shouts out to LAFC. That's a bit of a segue, I guess, into my background, if you guys want to talk about that.
Yeah.
So most recently, I was working for LAFC as a brand and community coordinator. Prior to that, I was doing a lot of stuff with a company called Kicks to the Pitch. We still are basically a lifestyle and a soccer brand that brings in sort of outside and blends outside cultures like sneaker wear, streetwear, a lot of fashion forward stuff. We've done a lot of collaborations with PSG. We've worked with Real Madrid and a bunch of different artists and sneaker designers and things like that. So looking on these sort of outskirts of soccer and bringing it into our world and blending it into our world. So been able to do a lot of cool stuff like documentaries. I've hosted their podcast, hosted like weekly shows that we would do. I was a writer for a long time, their editor. So did a lot of like sort of outside cultural media stuff with Kicks to the Pitch. That's kind of where I kind of got my bearings and started to learn a lot about kit culture and things like that. And then of course, other stuff, but yeah, that's kind of my plight into soccer.
Shout out to Ramsey. Ramsey's down with you, right? Ramsey Abushola or?
So they do stuff with Urban Pitch. They're a different thing. Urban Pitch does, they're the guys that own Urban Futsal. We actually collaborated with them on an influencer league that we did 2 years, 2 years in a row. So we had it was like Beats by Dre, Complex, Nicky Sports, which is a huge soccer retailer in Southern California. Last season, LAFC had a team, Galaxy had a team, but it was their front office. So it would be like their front office versus LAFC's front office. And then, employees from Complex would play employees from Beats by Dre. We had Venice Beach Football Club, a bunch of 424, a bunch of different entities and stuff.
That's a beautiful thing, especially in the United States, where you don't really see a lot of culture, quote unquote, but there's so much things bubbling, especially in New York, in LA, a little bit in Atlanta, and also Miami. There's a lot of like this urban streetwear culture, doing our thing, and when it comes to getting this forward, because this is like more of a movement. That's what's great about being involved.
I mean, 1,000%. Like what's so crazy is we were in the middle of my sort of tenure at Kicks to the Pitch. We were flying out to London and Madrid and all these places, and they would fly us out as part of media to we're doing a new boot release. Like Puma would do a new boot release, or it would be like Nike would be dropping a new a new tech on their kits or something, and we started to become part of that. And then they wanted to work with us heavily because it's a lot of the world is still obsessed with our culture in terms of like hip hop, streetwear, sneaker culture and things like that. They look to us still. So also like in terms of soccer, you could argue that the US is still probably the most untapped resource when it comes to the market, because there's still a lot of people that are not completely, not like pro soccer. Like me growing up, soccer wasn't cool. So to see all this stuff now is just wild. And I love that I'm a little bit of a part of it. But you see that sort of change, and you see a lot of Europeans and Nike Europe and Adidas Europe or Adidas Madrid, or all these European big brands and big teams. They want a piece of the pie here because there's still pie available. Over there it's super congested and they don't even really have to try that much. So you're seeing a lot of people get involved just by from a style perspective, I think is what we're seeing. And it's like I said, it's just really cool to be a part of and really cool to see, because growing up that wasn't the case at all.
And Nick from Paraguay, so he comes from another viewpoint of things. And you guys are both Real Madrid fans, so I hate you both. I guess.
You don't know what greatness is.
Well, I see him wearing an Arsenal kit, so I don't know. It's a little he's got it balanced, right?
Arsenal, we definitely love Arsenal. Arsenal love is great, but he likes Real Madrid for some reason. I'm Barcelona. You know.
Yeah, I'm a big Madrid fan. Wearing a Roberto Carlos jersey. This is one of my most prestigious, best kits I think ever. It was I was a kid, and the only way I'm 36 years old, so the only way back when I was young was to watch games was we had to stay home. If I stayed home from school, I would catch a Champions League game or something like that, or I would see a Clásico. I would see Real Madrid when it was Roberto Carlos and Redondo and Raúl and Hierro versus Rivaldo and Kluivert and these guys. So I remember seeing games like that, and I was just like, what is this? Even before MLS, or the year MLS started, I would see these games, and it was just a completely different, a massive level of who are these guys? How, especially me, it was Roberto Carlos. I saw him score goals that what is he? How does he do that? And there was one game in particular. You can Google it after this. They're playing in a Copa del Rey game. He's going down the line. He's a left-footed guy. He's going down the line, kicks it outside of the foot, and then curves it basically opposite post. And everyone's just even on the other team, they were like, how? So I went to, when I was in Manchester for an event, we went to the Classic Football Shirts warehouse, and they have a lot of player collections there. Yeah, so the guy's giving us the tour, and then I was like, where's the Real Madrid section? And then he's like, oh, come here, and he shows me, he's like, that's the match-worn Champions League Roberto Carlos jersey. And I was like, swoop. So I just grabbed it up, and I was like, I can buy this, right? He's like, yeah, of course you can buy it. And I didn't even know the price, didn't think it. I was just like, here's my credit card, do what you got to do, whatever. But I had to come home with it. It was just one of those things, and you feel it. It's has a certain weight. It's a player issue. It's just a whole different. It's just there's a quality to it. And after basically after this, I started getting way more serious about kit collecting and just paying attention to the nuance of kits in general. I would say I always paid attention to the style and how the nostalgia of it. But I would say this was 2016. That's when I think things in kit culture in general got kind of exploded from there. Classic Football Shirts. We went to that warehouse. It was just it was the first time walking into Toys R Us, basically, as a kid. It was just
digging through the records, back in the day, Africa Bada, you're behind.
Yeah. But crazy. He showed us a collection. It was God, I can't remember the guy. Mark Overmars played. Yeah, Barcelona guy also. So he showed us his kit collection, and it was a Zidane World Cup kit, Ronaldo Phenomenal World Cup kit, and you're just my head's exploding. Because I'm touching, you can go there and look at them, and it has the embroidery of the match, it's France versus whomever, or when they played Brazil,
Yeah.
And it's just it's powerful because you go back to those games, you go back to where you were, you go back to what you were doing, and you remember just how iconic those players were, and it's it was just crazy to go experience that.
You grew up mostly in Paraguay. How do you, and you kind of new to the country, you have a totally different view on this because you grew up in probably a soccer mad country like Paraguay. You came to this country, you saw how different it was here. Tell us a little bit about that.
No. So I don't know where you got that, but I'm not from Paraguay.
Luis.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
He's kind of quiet.
No.
I gotta drag out the words from him.
My bad. Yeah.
So basically, growing up, being born in one of those countries where soccer is definitely in the everyday conversation. When you go to dinner, when you're gonna have breakfast, Sunday morning, you're already thinking about the game. You're already thinking about who's gonna play, what's gonna be the strategy going forward. And it's crazy, you know. We have our derby. I'm from Cerro Porteño, which is as the is the Barcelona in Paraguay, and Olimpia is the Real Madrid in Paraguay. So we have our derby, very passionate, very people are they get really euphoric, and coming to America and seeing like everything is a little bit, well, it's way more quiet, but you see soccer in another perspective. You see soccer or football as something that is gonna get there sooner than later, in terms of feeling this passion, feeling this desire to go to the soccer pitch and root for your team. It's gonna get there. It's not gonna be fast, but I see people, and mostly us Latinos, we really carry our teams in our hearts. I like Real Madrid, but I'm diehard Arsenal fan since growing up. Even I like Arsenal more than my home country club. It's crazy. Growing up with the likes of Henry Bergkamp playing that beautiful football that gave us 2 Premier Leagues in 2000. Because I'm from the '90s. So when I used to turn on the TV on a Saturday morning, I used to catch the Premier League matches, and it's just amazing how Europe, the fans in England, Spain, um, how they breathe this football world. And lately, brands like Nike, Adidas, and Puma, they switch for the boring templates, the boring designs that, of course, they're magical, they're storied, they're relics for us, and we go crazy about it. I am a shirt collector as well, from Arsenal. I have like 25 items to this day, and I spent a lot of money already. My wife is like, it's about to cut it out, but for me, it's like just open up the drawer, open up the closet, and see those shirts that, you know, they gave me this feeling, these memories, and what I was saying about the brands is like they switch over from, you know, the basic designs, the templates, to basically bring what the team represents for the people. They even bring art. They bring elements from the streets, from the even the buildings around the area, around the stadium. So soccer or football is becoming a trend. Not just in Europe was always a trend, South America was always a trend, but here in America, and with adding not elements of fashion, we adding elements of technology. So it's getting exciting day by day. So pretty excited to be here this time.
Yeah, Andrew. I mean, the reason we came together, I mean, we get excited. We talk about our own stories. We go on for hours, but we really want to focus on 2020. I mean, it was a crazy year. You know, rest in peace to everybody that passed away. A lot of us, you know, lost people. Please continue wearing your mask. We're almost there. Hopefully, we get the vaccine, and we'll be good. But tell us what were your, let's start with the good stuff. Like, what was like your top, let's say top three. Start with the top three jerseys for the year. And then we'll talk about the bad stuff too, you know, because that's the cool stuff also. But tell us. Go ahead.
So for me, kind of like what, I'm sorry, what was the other guy's name? I apologize. What was his name? What Luis said.
Yeah.
You know, he's talking one thing about like that teams are or brands are starting to elevate their design profile. But one thing you started to see a lot was you're kind of getting, it was kind of reaching a point where like retro was like, all right, we've seen where this is coming from, right? You see the Bruce Banana thing that Arsenal did last season, and it was like, that's dope. But now what are you going to do this season, right? Or, how are you going to pay homage, or how are you going to bring stuff from the past? And so to me, it was the stuff that wasn't super obvious, but it showed a little bit of a nod. Number one for me was Roma, the Roma away kit with the Lupetto badge, which is a beautiful, if you don't know, Roma has like 2 badges that they've used over the past like 20, 30 years. But the Lupetto badge is just the wolf head. And it was made by a very famous Italian designer who passed away. I think he passed away last year. So in order to honor him, they paid homage. I don't know his name off the top of my head. I couldn't find my notes, but
He was a graphic designer, a legend.
yes, he was a very legendary Roman graphic designer. So
Yes.
very important to the city. He designed stuff all around the city. He designed that badge. So I thought it was a beautiful homage. Not only that, but the kit itself, it's got this very like unique color that you almost never see, almost like a beige tan colorway. I love when kits are either super simple or kind of crazy and out there. So this one is super simple. I love the 2-button collar. I love that silhouette. I like wearing like Fred Perry polos. So it reminded me of that. It reminded me of a lot of like classic, because you could wear that in a casual setting, no problem. It has a nice burgundy collar that's an homage to their home kit. So that was number one for me. Also the Nike Sportswear. I love the Nike Sportswear badge. And then number 2 for me is probably Red Star. They're a 3rd division French team, I believe. Now they have the Condivo 20 template, which to me is the worst template of all time, or one of the worst. Yeah. All of the MLS, the new kits, if you don't know what I'm talking about, they have this really thick V-neck that just looks awkward, and super thick sleeve cuffs that they don't fit well. It fits very awkwardly. Not a fan of the silhouette. But Red Star collaborated with Adidas to do such an amazing job. They literally did like drawings of iconic, historic parts of the team's history, and then imprinted it almost like a wallpaper onto their kit. And then something about they have like a Vice, the media outlet, the news outlet. That's their kit sponsor. Something about that sponsor just looks fire to me. It looks amazing on the chest. So just the way both the home and away, they did a green one that almost reminds you of like Heineken vibes, and then they did like a white with like a pinkish red accents. I just thought those kits were so well done that they made that template look good, which to me was almost impossible, but they crushed it. So Red Star was number 2 for me. Number 3, I went back and forth. I kind of looked back, and as I see them now in person, I really, really liked. I was actually almost gonna choose that Arsenal kit that Luis is wearing. I really love the font that they did on the back for the FA Cup. I thought it looked amazing. But the Manchester City, I believe it's their away kit. They went with like a really dark navy, and then they did accents that were taken from very famous canals within Manchester. So if you go to Manchester and you look at these canals, there's literally accents that are taken from their architecture in these canals. And if you know anything about Manchester, you know that they're a famous shipping town. The ocean is very near and dear and important to that city. So the fact that they took accents from those canals and put it on the kit, first of all, looks amazing. They made it look very Art Deco, which is not easy to pull off on kits. LAFC has done it, and it can be very tricky. And they went with this like rose gold, bronze accents on there, which I've almost never seen on any jersey before in my life. And they just executed it so well. On pitch, looks fire. Casual setting, looks amazing. So those are my top 3, I would say, for 2020 for sure.
Okay, please go ahead. Your turn. Yeah.
Well, like he said, the Condivo template was one of the worst templates ever made. This is not my top 3, but I'm just gonna say something about the Real Madrid shirt. However, the Real Madrid home jersey this year with that fine white, and I'm not a big fan of the pink element, but they make it look good. The Real Madrid shirt is one of my favorites this year with the Condivo. But going to my top 3, I would go with Liverpool home kit. What I think Nike with Liverpool, the first year was such a difficult test for Nike, and starting the new season and starting this new partnership, they needed to break the window, and I think they executed this design perfectly, and this is my top three. So the red shirt with the elements, the green elements, it's basic but it's elegant at the same time. Was I think Liverpool fans are happy with it. I would go with my top two is Paris Saint Germain. Nike and Paris Saint Germain are always doing something great every year with the Jordan collaboration. Um, but this year, the way they executed the colors, the middle stripe, the big stripe with the white on the sides, and it goes everything. It blends everything with the sponsor because the sponsor is it's kind of it's not the Fly Emirates anymore. So now they have it's not like a regular sponsor. It has uh, several fonts and everything. So I like how they did that. And my number one is the Inter third shirt by Nike. Inter de Milan. They brought the design. I believe it's from, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Andrew knows better. Um, I think it was with Ronaldo in the 2000, 2001 or 99.
About the grayish one or
Yeah,
the
No,
yeah,
the
it's
one
the
with
gray, the parallel
the
stripes.
yeah, the
Yeah,
parallel stripes.
I think it was
Um,
the year before he joined Real Madrid, so it must have been like
yeah,
99, 2000,
90,
or
2001 or so,
2001.
2000. Yeah, exactly.
Because
So
then back then they would wear it for 3 years, so I don't remember
exactly,
specifically.
exactly. But
I know the kit you're talking about, but I don't know how long they wore it. But yeah,
it's
it's awesome.
spot on. It's spot on. Yeah,
No.
those are my favorites this year.
I mean, just piggybacking off what you guys said, I mean, definitely, I'm an AC Milan fan, so it's very hard to say this, but Inter Milan has consistently come out with some fire ass kits. I
Yeah.
can't put this on record, but I gotta say it. I'm like, I know when I'm gonna see an Inter Milan kit, I'm like, it's gonna be fire. I know it. God damn it. Even when I'm playing this motherfucking team, and it looks so dope. It's so dope. AC Milan's new joint is all right, but Inter Milan they at the park. Like lately they just been killing it. So I got to give them that much. I liked the Man City Paisley one, the one this year. I mean, just because it's different and to pull off Paisley, it's like oh shit, like wow, like
It's
really
very difficult.
very
Very
difficult.
difficult.
And you know what? It may not be something you can rock all the time, but just the fact that they had the balls to say, you know what, we're gonna go Paisley and like really do it, and it doesn't look horrible. I gotta give it to them for that. That was cool, and it just kind of like, it kind of just cemented that like, oh, they're doing something different, and that's always important for me that okay, you're doing like you said, a lot of templating, and some people appreciate something new because think about it, a shirt is a shirt, so you want something every year that's kind of okay, it's different. I'm not gonna buy the same Arsenal kit every year. You want something different. You want some type of new memories with these kits, So I like that a lot. I like the Arsenal. I call it the bloody ice cream. The white with the red looks like marble. When I first saw it, you know, I you know what? It's different, and I guess it grew on me. I just it was kind of out there, and I was like, you know what? Okay.
When what they try to do is when you go in Highbury, when Highbury is not more, but and they had this hole where they had the statues of Herbert Chapman or um and the floor has that texture. Is the white with the red
The
stain,
marble,
the
marble.
marble, yeah. So that's what they tried to do, but they executed horribly.
I know it's controversial pick, but I just think they did it really well. And it looks. I thought it could be on pitch to be like disgusting, but I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. It's kind of different, like again, when it's in action, you're like, okay, that works. And also I also like the I like the one from Real Betis. It's a Kappa kit. It's the pink one. You know what I mean? Pink kits were big this year, so much so I'm like, then I need to get a pink kit myself because pink looks good now. I think like Juventus pulled it off, Real Madrid pulled it off. It's nice. It's different. It's something that you can wear, and it's loud. It has that Kappa touch, where it's like a little too much, but it's just the right amount of wrong, if you know what I mean. And it caught my attention. I also like the Samalek jersey. That's my Egyptian team. It's a white, white kit, and that logo is just so beautiful. It's like this guy like with a bow, and it's just like simple, like nothing out there. It's just simple white kit, nothing going on. And I kind of want to mention, going back to Man City, the Manchester United black and white kit, the zebra kit. Like, what the fuck was that? Like, bro, before I even start, I want to give a shout out to my people, our friends, our family, our brethren, Le Ballon, my boy Jack, Cacahueta Sluts, the whole crew, Case, like if you look at that kit, they took their logo, they took that ball with the black, and they said, okay, let's see how we can make it really bad looking on a jersey. And I've talked to Jack about it. He just laughs because what can he say? But wow.
Yeah, that's what's funny when you talk about something that grew on you when you were talking about the Arsenal kit. I've seen a lot of people kind of retract what they said about the Manchester kit, about like it growing on you. And for me, I was like, nah, that shit's terrible. Like it's still ugly. I don't know what they were doing. I actually
from whatever you look at it, it's just
yeah. That one's bad, but also their home kit is just as bad in my opinion. It looks like people were saying it looks like a bus seat, or like if you go to the theater, it looks like the floor or something like that. I don't know what's going on. Then they have that big ass Chevy logo. It just looks awkward as hell, man. Like I don't know what they were doing. It's funny you mentioned the Le Ballon, the Le Ballon logo, and like there was I went to the Le Ballon in 2016. I was able to go to their pop-up, and I had a zine, and the zine was covered in that the stripes, and that was it. Immediately what I thought. It's funny that you mentioned that. I never really thought about it until I saw that, and then you mentioned it again. You reminded me, but yeah, that's exactly what it looks like.
The kit downstairs from Quays, did you get the whole thing or no? You got one of those?
Well, yeah, I got a custom kit, and I got a scarf and all that. It was like 2016. It was the Euros. I was there for the Euros. So I went to a couple to Marseille, went to a couple games. It was dope.
Right, that's where I met the crew, and I was like, you know what? And them, and to me, these guys are like the epitome. They're like the Gucci of this whole shit. And like, we're in their orbit. It's like, whoa, you know what I mean? They don't even know. It's like crazy. And I guess let's talk a bit about kits from hold on, I'm getting upgrade thing. I got 10 more minutes. Let's talk about wait a minute. Sorry, hold on. Okay. About kits from, let's say, the streetwear side of things, like anything that caught your interest in terms of that, of non-real teams, but real teams.
The biggest thing that I have seen, or the biggest thing that I've loved over the past couple of years was I think the Juventus Palace collaboration is like above and beyond everything I've seen so far. Of course, I love streetwear brands. My buddies do FC Dorsum. You were talking about Paisley, and they came out with their collection in July, I want to say. But they did an amazing, hold on, I have it right here actually. They did an amazing collaboration with their 3 Korean dudes. One of them works for, well, I can't say, but there's 3 Korean dudes. One of them works for a brand, and then he helps design certain things. And then the other one works for LAFC, and the other one is just a guy from K-Town. But they did a really cool collaboration with Umbro Korea. They released it in Korea with.
Shout out the next Korea kit, which is amazing. The black and white one with stripes. Whoa.
Yeah. So that's probably my favorite, like on-pitch streetwear collab. But I think a lot of the Air Max stuff that Nike's doing also is really cool. The Roma one that looks real. Probably my favorite one, the Safari collection. That's like if you grew up a sneakerhead, like that's just a classic, iconic texture and all that stuff that they use. So I would say those two. But to me, over the past like 10 years, I think the the Juventus Palace collab is just the most incredible thing I've ever seen. I love it because Palace is an amazing streetwear brand that has always done dope soccer inspired stuff. They've got a lot of recognition, a lot of weight, and they just made a classic, the old lady, they made it look like cool as shit, basically. So yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents.
Luis, anybody pique your interest in terms of
Well, the good thing that Arsenal did this year with Adidas was the the casual collection, the jackets, the training kits. But mostly this year, even with the pandemic, they launched this new 90s kind of collection with the jersey, with the jackets. Awesome. Um, uh, Obviously, the Jordan and PSG collaboration was one of the highlights of the decade for me because how they blend basketball brand into soccer. And Paris is the capital of what everything that is cool. So great. And one thing that I want to say that I actually absolute despite this year was the collab with Pharrell, and I think it was Pharrell the musician with Manchester
Yeah.
United. I think it was if not mistaken Real Madrid. They did an awful kid with Arsenal. So one of those things, when you try to be cool, I think Nike executes better the streetwear collection that Adidas. But when Adidas wants to step up and say, "Hey, here I am, I can do cool stuff," they absolutely butcher it.
and I like to give a shout out to our friends at Football Cafe, who kind of started that whole tie dye uh, football jersey trend. Diego and the whole crew out there. I think they even posted something about how this is what we started and now it's an Adidas thing. So that's
Yeah.
neither here nor
That's
there.
what they do.
like-
That's what they do. That's what they do.
But I mean, it's so blatant. This guy. It's crazy. Like what the hell? Like they created this whole style and they were able to work with they were with CP Company. They work with Venezia, I believe. Maybe it's also Inter. So they're doing some really cool stuff, and to have a major brand kind of like bite their stuff is kind of not cool, to me personally. But I think in terms of like the streetwear stuff, I liked what our friends. Wait, what is this? I want to say this right. Insta Monstergram. They're a club out of England. Ooh, this one isn't it? That's it's a jersey kind of has a space thing going on. Space United FC also got to give them a shout out. They're Colombians, like myself. They do some really. I have a team and they work for the space industry, space engineering industry out there in I think in California. So definitely want to give them a shout out. But these guys did some cool stuff. This jersey is really hot. It's just basically like space and whatnot. It's really cool. I like what Bled FC did with some of their stuff with like circular logo placements. That's really nice. I got to shout out ourselves. We did this collab with Crime Faces. Luis was with the designer on it. We got the their logo and our logo blacked out, and then we got Bonsai on it. That's like his tag. So that was like one of the first times that this guy Crime Faces, who's like straight up like hip hop or whatever, that he said, you know what, you guys are doing some cool stuff in the sports world, and for us to collaborate with him was really cool. And we're doing some other stuff with him as well, like the whole capsule collection. But I definitely think it's an exciting time for the whole movement when it comes, where for Nikes of the world, Adidas, and the more streetwear side of things that are coming up. What do you guys think going forward, 2021? What do you guys see happening? Andrew.
Yeah, for me, I like I kind of mentioned, I had seen, or if you're paying attention, like all of us, I'm sure you see like, all right, they keep tapping back and like retroizing things, and it's like it's cool, but things can get very tired very quickly, especially with Instagram. You go on Instagram when a kid drops, and you're like, within 20 minutes, you've seen it like 400 times or whatever, right? So, especially because you're kind of following the same people, and the same people are reposting, and they're whatever. So, you kind of get tired of it quickly. You're definitely more, I would say, quicker than usual. I would say for sure, because when you asked about kits, and I was like, man, I haven't really thought about like kits in a really long time, and it felt like such a long time ago, but it really wasn't. We're still the season's not even close to being over. So, I'm just curious to see how more outside brands get involved. Braindead did a really dope collaboration with Roma recently. I think I love seeing brands like Hummel. I love seeing brands like Kappa,
Kappa
like
is doing great.
old school legacy brands that are coming back to the forefront, that are just super iconic and have had icon. You think of Hummel, you think of old school Denmark shirts. You think of Kappa, you think of old school Juve shirts, and now they're doing really amazing things with Betis. I think they did another like retro kit recently with Betis, but seeing these brands with their legacy kind of lifestyle collections or their lifestyle history, see them get into the forefront. I think I love that. But I'm more curious and more interested to see how outside brands get involved. I want to start seeing maybe like a big fashion house, maybe like a Louis or a Gucci get. We've seen so many concept kits. I would love to see them really like do a proper one and get involved. We saw, I think it was Balenciaga did those really terrible ones this year, but I want to see a collaboration with an actual team. I think you have like, I think D Squared was a sponsor of
Andrew, because the Zoom's going to be over, so I want you to tell us how we can follow you on your Instagram and your Twitter and everything else before we cut off, please.
Cool. My IG is at Drew_nearpost. Twitter at Drew_nearpost.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot for joining us, Drew. And maybe we'll have you on again. Maybe we'll talk about 2021. Kits. And before then, this is definitely a great movement going on. And thanks for joining us, man. And Elliot.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Take care, bro.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, Andrew.
All right.